You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. The earliest things that makes official. Welcome to the big show for 16 years, 2,600 website, 2,600 episodes. Wow. We've been bringing you the Chris Voss Show. And why have we been doing it? Because we're crazy about our audience and we just love them.
Millions of downloads can't be wrong.
There you go. Millions of downloads on the Chris Voss Show. So refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives. That's the Faustian bargain we make with our audience for giving the show away. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss1 on the TikTok, and all those amazing places on the internet. Today we're joined by an amazing young lady. We've got Tamara by Yazitov on the show with us today. We're going to be talking about her amazing new book that's come out called From Ashes to Ascent, A Story of Survival and Unshakable Hope, a memoir in 2 volumes. Welcome to the show, Tamara. How are you?
Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks for coming. Give us your .coms. Or .nets. Where do you want people to find you on the interwebs?
I want just the people to know a lot about the Kazakhstan history. Mm-hmm. This kind of because I belong to every group in Kazakhstan affected by the NKVD, so that was KGB later. The governmental policies, instructions, and post-war generation. I was everywhere. So that is, if you read my story, you will be able just to track all the history of Kazakhstan.
Ah, there you go. Now, you're originally from Kazakhstan. You believe that confidence, trust, and resilience are essential to life, though trust must be extended to caution. You immigrated to America.
I immigrated to America at my 50.
Oh, wow.
At the age of 50.
Wow. There you go. And so now you've come over here. But did you grow up in the USSR, as it were?
Oh, yes.
Yes. So you grew up under the Iron Curtain, the KGB, and all that sort of
right.
stuff. Wow. That must be quite the story. And then, so this is a 2-part memoir, to my understanding. Give us more of an overview of what's inside the book and what you cover.
About this side, I didn't hear.
Give us a much more overview of what's in the book and what you cover in it.
So the book, actually, this is my personal memoir, immigrant memoir, women's memoir, and my legacy to my family members, because it tells us a lot about hardships, about survival, and about how I became a fighter, finding my place, actually fighting for my place in life. My mom was very frustrated when she couldn't remarry because my father was missing at the front.
Oh, really?
And so she left with me. She was illiterate. So she never read me any stories. She never had me any pencil to draw something. She never talked to me. She was fighting just to find a piece of bread for me. But then, so I became a burden for her. The reason was that she could not remarry. At that time, there was like a policy for, in our nation. So you should not have children from another person And so I became a burden for her. And from that time, so she was beating me. She just cruelly, very cruelly. She broke my head because I lost the key from the house. So she beat me because I got cold and gave her problems how just well to help me. Everything that, every story, I had lots of stories there that can show you actually how I was fighting. And when I was 15, so I decided to struggle for myself, to fight for myself. Mm-hmm. And so when she was going just to hit me another time, I actually stopped her. And I said, no more fighting, no more beating. I didn't have any siblings. I didn't have anyone to defend me, to protect me. And I decided just to struggle with that and to fight for myself. I became a fighter. And from that time, she scolded me, but she never put her hands on me when she pulled my hair or beat me with a fist. So that was not actually, good for anyone. Mm-hmm. In the outdoor, because there was no, we were living in a very small room, like 7.5 square feet room. That was our kitchen, living room, everything. There was like a stove, one bed, one table, kitchen table, and 3 chairs. That's all we had in our room for 29 years. So, and at that time, so already, well, I was left every other night. She locked me in the room because she was working every other night as a guard on the KGB stadium, and I was by myself. And my first nanny was my cat, so nobody else. And I got used just to live by myself, because she would never know what will happen. She went to work at 6 o'clock in the evening, and I was by myself there until the morning. So you imagine how I felt.
But
to that,
I was a child just trying to survive.
Yes, I tried to survive. And when I became a burden for her, so then another story happened, because, well, I could not just protect myself. And that's why I was going actually to read an excerpt from that story about how I became a fighter. Would you like to listen?
Yes, please.
That year, 1958, was a turning point, not just because of my injury, but because it awakened something inside me, a longing for independence, for strength, for a voice of my own. At home, my mother and I often sat together at mealtimes, and one morning I confronted her. "Did you get a new driver at work?" I asked casually. She looked up surprised. "Why? How do you know?" "Because you're using new words you didn't say before." She didn't apologize, but I knew she understood. I had drawn a line. Yet her temper didn't change. But one day, something inside me snapped. I don't remember what I had said, but she didn't like it. Her face twisted with anger, her fist clenched, and a fire burned in her eyes. I knew she was about to strike. But this time, I wasn't a voiceless girl. This time, I stood up for myself, and her arm shot toward me. As her arm shot toward me, I reacted. I shoved her back and shouted, "You will not touch me anymore." She froze. My words, my defiance, it shocked her. Her raised arm faltered, then dropped to her side. From that time on, she never hit me again. She still raised her voice, still scolded me, but she never laid a hand on me. I had found my voice, the voice of a fighter.
Well, there you go. There you go. What a moving thing. Was that common for a lot of people in that era where there was just a lot of beating going on for parental correctioning, I guess?
Every family at that time lived like closed in their family room. They never shared anything. I have never heard of anyone else. I didn't know what was happening, but I thought this could happen in every family. When we didn't have a light, electricity, we didn't have anything until I was like in the 7th grade. And I thought this was the same in every family. But, it wasn't probably, because there were the other higher rank employees of KGB, because we actually lived in a KGB barracks. But next to us were houses where KGB high rank people lived. And they had electricity, they had, like heating. We didn't have anything. So we lived in that 7.5 square feet room all 29 years until I became already, I got married and we still lived there, but we lived in the shed because we couldn't just, and finally, so I was fighting for my place again, and I didn't go to the elections as everyone else was to go, because I said, I need a room for myself. And so finally they gave us, this was when I was 29 years old, when I had already 2 sons born, and we lived in that shed because my mom lived in the room and we lived in the shed, gluing the walls with newspapers. That's how we lived. So then, I went to college. I was actually in the College of the Foreign Languages at the English faculty. And so I was there for 5 years. And then I completed postgraduate courses, and I was sent to Kustanai, that was in the north of Kazakhstan, to work at the English faculty. Everything was fine with me. And so I could work there, but my husband preferred just to stay in Alma-Ata. That was the capital of Kazakhstan. And so, meanwhile, I belonged to every group. I was a little girl who went to the NKVD KGB kindergarten. I went to the summer camps that actually were built and were specially for the employees of the KGB people.
Wow.
But at the same time, KGB came back to me when we went to Baikal-Amur mainline project. That was the greatest project of that country, starting from 1975. And we went there in 1978, where I worked as an educator in the dormitories for the BAM people. And then I worked as an interpreter for the Seattle tunnel boring machine companies, and so I still, know them where they are, close to Seattle. So I worked there for 2 years with them. And so that changed actually my views on being a patriot of my country, because we never even thought that would we ever just go somewhere. We couldn't go there. I said, no, I will not go to France, they suggested, because I'm a patriot of my country. But then actually KGB was there, and again. So at that time, so KGB made me so frustrated and actually damaged, and it moved my views. It changed my views to be the patriot and to stay there being tracked by KGB every step of my life, or I go somewhere else. But then the American missionaries came to our country in 1991, and so they were like businessmen. And so my son set up the Kazakh American business company to help American missionaries. And one of them, there was a college student, he gave us an invitation for me to go to his wedding party in Dallas, Texas. And that's where we decided just that we stopped there. But it was the time when the collapse of the Soviet Union in 91.
Yeah.
And so that is, everything changed. And so we decided just, well, to find a way to go to America. And so there, the relations between the countries, between the former Soviet Union republics changed. And Russia did not accept our dollars that we were bringing to come back to Kazakhstan. And
really?
so they took our money at the customs in Moscow. And so we were left with $100 for me and for my husband and me to go to America. From New York to New York. And there, so while we were on the plane, they suddenly called my name. And I said, gosh, okay, so in Moscow, they took all my money. What are they going to do with me right now? We were close to England already. And they said, your son has bought you tickets to go from New York to Dallas. And I was so happy. And then with $100, of course, we couldn't do anything. But the missionaries that I worked for in Almaty, so as an interpreter, they actually called me and said, Tamara, come down, okay, to Jackson, Mississippi. And their church collected the money for me to take the Greyhound bus to go to Hayward, California, where my husband's distant relative lived at that time. They just went there. And so then my America started. So I had to adjust to new culture. I had to actually have my diploma as a bachelor in English, confirmed, and I had to go to the university. So I started to work first as a class teacher assistant. And then, yes, they proposed that I should complete the master degree, and I did. And I earned the master degree in teaching when I was 60. And from then, and I had just to work for some time to be able to somehow to compensate the money I paid, because I worked and paid for this. Well, here I was, okay. So, but I worked once by the way, in America. So when we came here in 3 years, so we didn't have the money to pay for the 2-bedroom apartment, because my son arrived, who was the director of that business in Almaty. And so we decided just to buy, he said, well, I will get married. And we decided just to buy a house. And we bought the house, which was not livable at all.
Oh, wow.
So that is, my husband is a craftsman. He's jack of all trades. We fixed the house. Then I hired the company just to do the addition to our house. And then in 10 years, so I worked for two districts, school districts. And so I had the money to buy a lot in Shelter Cove, California. And there, okay, I met the American Warren Helsley, who was at that time was 83 years old, like I am right now. And so I talked to him and to his family. He asked me, so how come? So you came to America and in 3 years you bought a house and in 10 years you are building a Victorian style vacation home on elite, in elite settlement, Shelter Cove, California. And I said, well, because of this and that. And he loved my stories about BAM, about Siberia, that we went to be the partners of, the builders actually of that Baikal-Amur main line. And he said, Tamara, why don't you sit down and put your stories on paper? And that was 2005, actually.
Oh, wow.
We were still building that house in Shelter Cove. And so I started, but I still worked because after I completed my master's degree, I worked for 7 years just to be able to do something. So from that time on, I started just to write stories and showed that to Warren. And he listened to me and he tried just to give me the tools, helping me with writing tools because he was a graduate of business school, Harvard Business School, but he was an engineer. But he was actually good in writing. And he was, at that time, he was writing his memoir. And that his memoir actually opened America to me. And I thought, gosh, okay, if that writing can help people to understand what the country is, what was going on in that country. He was born in 1920, and he passed away at 101 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Well, and all that time, before his death, he was actually listening to my stories, and he was helping me. I sent him the pages because we live in Sacramento, and he lives in Shelter Cove. He lived in Shelter Cove. And so he was trying to help me with that. And I said, well, if his memoir opened America to me, why don't I write something for my family who already speak English? And from that time on, I started to think about my childhood, about the policies, about how people lived when they were actually people, city people and country people. They were different. Country people did not have passports. They were living like slaves, and they didn't get any salary in money, something. They got grain for their work. So they couldn't go from country to the city. That was something that I will never forget. And I will never forget the Siberia where I worked with such frosts that that was unbearable just for people. But so we still worked there, and I was very successful there.
What a journey. What a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why, I had just to divide my book, because before that, in the first version, I was talking about dreams. I invited my family members. I wanted them to see what they should do to get their dreams done. And I said, dreams is not a lottery to win. You should work hard. You should you should make some actions and work hard just to have them completed. Then I was not satisfied, and I decided to republish my book. Changing the connotation to because not all the dreams that I was actually having were completed. Then they changed the title. It says Chasing Dreams, because while chasing dreams, you need just to be on alert what you do and what you actually plan to have your dreams. Why? Is it worth for your wife, for your life at all? Then I said, well, gosh, okay, if I show that if it is good for immigrants. It is the stories for women, how I survived with my husband, who was showing like infidelity all his life. He was never a dad for my son. He was just a biological father. And I thought, gosh, okay, I need just to show it to the public. But to show it to the public, I had just to remove all the geographical, for example, locations, names that were all were good for my family, but for the general public. And I decided just to show that I was fighting. That's why my first volume is Want to Fight and Win. And the other one is transformation of my actual vision, because I already grew up as a writer, and I thought, no, I should show it. So how I reached all my dreams in America. And that was the time. That's why Ashley was like poverty, hardships with the post-war generation there in Kazakhstan, and coming back to life, where we had traveled to many countries because my husband was a world and European champion in building historic ships. So that's why I took him to France, to Italy, to Greece, to to Bulgaria, to Romania, where the world and European championships were held. So that is, I actually brought him back, like a father, but my sons are already grown up people. They don't need that like dad provider, which I had in Kazakhstan. So that's how I came up to these 2 volumes.
There you go. Well, what a story and a journey as we go through life. Anything more you want to plug as we go out?
I don't know. So any questions to me?
No, I think you covered it all. You pretty much covered the whole book front to back. And what a journey. What a journey you took and went on there. So as we go out, give people your .net. Where can they find you on the internet and find out more?
So on the internet, so you have my website, tamarabayazitov.net. And my publisher already showed me how it works. I opened that, but he showed me only like the book, and my book will be on Nobles and Barnes and Noble. So he submitted the file there. Well, and so I expect to see the Amazon Kindle also, and also the one of the dreams was just to have it like an audio for my book, for people actually to listen to that story while they're, for example, on the plane or just, at home. So, and actually there was one offer to make it an audio because this book, as the people said, was good for the blind people.
Oh, wow.
Because I have a story about how I worked as we had summer camps that KGB just built, summer camps for the employees of KGB at that time. And so one of this, and I was there a pioneer leader. I had 30 kids there. And once we were awarded for my work there in the summer camp, and we went to the blind people camp, where blind people were sitting on the branches of the cherry tree, and they were there. But so under the tree, there was a table where a lady sat, and she was making like, we call them vareniki, like dumplings with cherries. And then those blind people showed us how they lived. Their dormitories were in such a perfect order that it was just a wonder how blind people lived there. And so that story actually, I told people, Americans, about it later, how blind people were considered like invalid people. That's what we had this word, invalid means, but in English it is like invalid. So they were living in a separate, like behind the fences. They were having their own life there because they were not accepted by people outside of that camp. So that is why, so that idea was like, okay, so I would love just to help the blind people. But that person who actually offered that to me, he disappeared. I cannot find him.
Oh, wow.
But I still have this idea to have somehow Amazon or somebody just to help me make it out there.
There you go. Well, Tamara, thank you very much for coming on over. We really appreciate it and all that good stuff. Thank you very much for coming by. Wonderful story of adversity and triumph.
Well, you're very welcome. So if you have any more questions, you can reach me on my phone, on my site. Actually, I don't know if I can share the website, not only the website, but my email. Well,
go ahead. If you want, share it.
Yeah. Okay. My last name, my first name at yahoo.com. That's my email that everyone can see that. Probably they have it in the on my website. I don't know yet. I didn't go to contacts to see what they did there.
All right.
But people are calling me right now. Many people from New York.
Really?
Calling me. Yes. Okay. They say, Tamara, so we read your story. I don't know if they couldn't have read my story yet, but they saw probably the previous versions, okay, Chasing Dreams or Chase Your Dreams, okay, and probably they found they said, yeah, we know your contact number. They call me and say, Tamara, can we help you just with publishing, with marketing? I said, well, I have a publisher, so we are doing that. And so one of them called me lately, and she said, Tamara, I want to pull your name on the billboards in New York. I say, on Times Square. I say, gosh, okay, what is the idea? I cannot go there. She says, no, you don't go there. So we'll put you on the billboard, and everybody will be happy just to know who you are.
Yeah.
And I said, wow.
That will be amazing. So as we go out, excuse me, thank you, Tamara, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. So order up the book, folks, wherever fine books are sold. Tamara, give me the title of that book, if you would, please.
The one the previous versions?
The ones that we've been talking about, the title that we've been talking about.
So from Ashley to Ascend is going to be on Amazon. I said that I haven't gotten any credentials yet from my publisher. Okay. I don't know how to go there yet, but it will be there.
All right. We'll look forward to seeing that. Thank you very much, Tamara, for coming on the show. Thanks to our audience for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss1 on the TikTok and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the most amazing, intelligent podcast ever made to improve your brain and your life. Warning, consuming too much of the Chris Voss Show podcast can lead to people thinking you're smarter, younger, and irresistible sexy. Consume in regularly moderated amounts. Consult a doctor for any resulting brain bleed.